welcome to another one of my car videos, and today we are going to see the unveiling of these spectacular cars. So let's go ahead and see what cars they have for this year for 2024.
The 2024 Muscle Car Corvette Nationals, and what we're going to do is get this cover pulled from the car so you got something cool to look at, and we're going to have a chat about it with Keith here. Go ahead, ladies. And this is a stunning 1964 GTO. What do you say?
I'm nervous.
I'm mesmerized.
I answered an ad in a classified paper 50 years ago for this car, and the guy told me it was rough and it didn't run. And I went to see it, and he was not exaggerating. It was rough and it didn't run. But when I started looking, I saw all the power accessories and the options on the car, and I bought it. I put it in storage, and 3 years ago we started on this, and we finally got here.
Tell us how many times you've driven it.
0. I've never driven the car.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for this unbelievable GTO. It's a long time coming restoring this one, and you mentioned options. This might be one of, if not the highest option GTOs from '64 ever.
It's got to be one of the top ones. There's no air conditioning, even though it has tinted windows all the way around, which was kind of unusual. It went to New York City when we sold. Alan Pontiac, I believe, was the dealer in New York City, and there was a Coast Guard sticker on the bumper, so whoever owned it at one time probably was in the Coast Guard or worked at one of the Coast Guard bases. It's just, I've hated these cars over the years, and I could never part with this car. I just had to do it. I just had to have it. And the guys at the shop, I mean, I can't say enough about this shop. They're incredible. The work they do is just world class, and nicest people in the world. Almost like, if he was older, he could be my dad, but he's not quite that old.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about some of the options that we'll find on this car that make it so special.
Well, it's 3.9 tri-power. It has a close ratio 4-speed instead of the usual wide ratio. 390 rear end, metallic brakes, vinyl top, tinted glass, fender rear, retractable seat belts, power seat, power windows, tilt wheel, sport wheel, rear defogger, power steering, power brakes, trunk light, glove box light, parking brake warning lamp, console. Yeah, it goes on and on. There's a few other little things, other light packages that are in it. And
I didn't ask you about your new Escalade. I asked you about a GTO. That list of options is unbelievable, and the fender mirror, you never see those.
No, I shouldn't say anything, but I have 4 of those.
We're going to talk later.
You just start buying parts because you never know, and we actually, that mirror is the sum of 3 mirrors. This part was good, that part was good, so we just took them apart. Yeah, the guy at the Chrome shop loves me too.
Well, I can imagine, for sure. And you mentioned power seat. Is it the driver's side?
Just the driver's side. They didn't offer a passenger side.
So, a lot of people will maintain that the '64 GTO, of course, kind of the first muscle car. And a muscle car, by definition, the 2-door version of a family car with the biggest engine you could get in it, but oftentimes nothing else. So this really is kind of the opposite of what is.
It really blurs the line of what a muscle car and a luxury car is.
Yeah, I mean, if I get to drive it, I guess I'll find out.
Well,
we'll put some rubber on the quarter panels. And
good. I hope so. Yeah. Let that torque of that 3.9 tri-power really do its thing. Listen, again, congratulations to the team at Midwest Muscle Car Restoration for pulling us off. Ladies and gentlemen, how about one more round of applause for this amazing GTO and Keith Ferguson and the team at Midwest Muscle Cars. Thank you so much for bringing it out.
thanks, Dave. I appreciate you all.
Heck yeah. And now you can open the hood.
So here's another unveiling.
Yes. Adriana and Nancy jump in there, help them out. George Hurst, by the way, in the mid-60s, took his idea for a performance car at Pontiac, and Pontiac passed over and said, hey, why don't you go over to Oldsmobile? They need a little bit of help in the performance world, and aren't we all glad that they, Oldsmobile, met with George Hurst, and this is the result. This 1969 Hurst Olds, wow. What a beauty.
1969 Hurst Olds.
How
Check
about
that
it,
out.
ladies and gentlemen? Fantastic. Now let's go over. Yeah, go over there.
So Jim and Stacy, I think this is the first time that you guys have seen it completed. Let's go figure it out right now.
You know, I've had another one in the past.
So Jim, I'm guessing you're not going to sell this one, right? You learned your lesson, didn't you? Well done, Arnold. Thank you guys for coming to this unveiling.
So this is for the unveiling for the 1969 Oldsmobile Hurst Olds Holiday Coupe.
At the 2024 Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. If you're just joining us here this afternoon, thank you for coming. This show is like none other, and you'll see why in just a second. But as we get this car going, we're going to ask our two lovely ladies to pull the cover so the crowd can see it. And Ward, I'm going to ask you, what is it that we're unveiling today?
Oh, boy, I don't know where to start. We've got a long-term owner from 1982. And they have wanted this car restored the way they would have liked it if they had bought it new. And that's what the 67 GTO knows. It's a 66 Le Mans. It's got a totally different front flip on it. They wanted to add factory air. They wanted to add power windows. They wanted to add tilt. They wanted to add 67 his and hers. And we went out and found original parts, no aftermarket stuff. In fact, I bought a lot of it from Barry Martin from Michigan, a lot of it. And just blew the whole car apart, and then you just sit back and see how many surprises you're going to have. This car had been popped hard in both quarters. It had rusty cowl, and you just keep peeling the onion until you finally get to the bottom. And that's exactly what we did.
Well, you guys did an amazing job. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for this unbelievable, this is Tyrol Blue, huh? Tyrol Blue 66 Le Mans, not a GTO, it's a Le Mans. And we're going to chat with the owner, Mark. So you've had this car a long time.
Since '82, we put 462,000 miles on it, drove it into the ground, and now she's come back to life.
It looks amazing, and you know, being a guy who's been on both sides of that story, I've driven cars into the ground, and we've restored quite a bit of them. A lot of times, as a restorer, you're saying, man, I really wish I could talk to the guy that drove this car into the ground because I'd have words for him, and you got that opportunity. So how was the relationship of putting this car back together?
He's the best, man. He does a real thorough job and makes sure you're happy.
So what Ward was saying is this was restored to the way that you envisioned it, right? So tell us about that.
Oh, we got the dealer books from '66 and '67 and just started going shopping. And pretty much picked everything in the book, I think.
I went out and found it and reinstalled it.
So basically, you recreated the experience that somebody in 1966 could have had at the dealership, just checking all the boxes.
Yeah, it made my hair real long.
And changed colors.
There you go, a new color, new image, the whole thing.
It's a '66 rear clip and taillights. The '67 GTO nose. So it's like, I call it the unicorn. It didn't exist, but it could have.
Well, it's pretty cool because it's a custom made with all stock OE parts.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no aftermarket stuff.
So tell me what's under the hood.
Got a 435 horsepower 400 out of a '67 Catalina station wagon, I believe.
Oh yeah, it does a bit in Maricopa, Arizona. Yeah, good friends of ours. So let me ask you this. You put a lot of miles on this car. Original drive line, obviously long gone. What was it like to keep it on the road for all those miles?
Quite a decent rear nose.
So accumulating all these NOS and original GM parts to put this together, it's one of these cars you walk past it and you go, oh, nice GTO. No, wait a minute, there's something going on here. So your team did a phenomenal job.
Yep, exactly.
So what's the plan? You're going to put another 500,000 miles on it, or?
Can't imagine why we wouldn't.
Awesome, love to hear it. Well, congratulations on bringing it back to life again. Ward, you guys did a phenomenal job.
Appreciate it, thank you.
You're welcome. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, for the unicorn, the combination 66 and 7 Le Mans GTO, one piece at a time, Johnny Cash special in some ways, but very well done. It could have been built from the factory. So thank you all for joining us. Feel free to grab some photos. Enjoy your day here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. More unveilings are coming.
Okay, so we're going to have another unveiling here. And the next cars that are up are the 1971 Chevy Corvette ZR2. This is only one of 12 cars, so this is going to be really special to see this car here. And then the other one is this 1959 Chevrolet Corvette with the fuel injection. And it's 290 horsepower, so let's sit back and wait for the unveiling.
Here at the 24 Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals, we've got a couple of very cool Corvettes with cool covers on them. In just a minute, if you want to hear my voice or gather around and see the magic, we'll do this in just a moment. You're welcome to join us on this featured unveiling. For our next featured unveiling here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals, we have a very
rare specimen. And as you know, Corvette is the middle name of the muscle car Corvette Nationals. So without further ado, I'm going to have our lovely ladies pull the cover off this amazing specimen and learn from restorer Mr. Rick Tucker about what it is that we're looking at. We're going to move it back to front. So Rick, tell me, what did you bring?
This is a 1971 LS6 ZR2 Corvette. In 1971, Chevrolet made 12 ZR2 Corvettes. 7 are known to still exist. This is the one that left General Motors and it collected to England. It was supposed to be raced over there. The owner there wanted to race it in the Mcacn. 4 of them didn't. It wouldn't happen. Didn't have a roll bar in it, and he wasn't going to put one on it. The story went from there. It had a tough one to me.
Well, I bet the streets of England were not used to seeing something with a 454 in it, especially the way that these cars handled, right? Because this was basically a very well-balanced road racer.
It's really true, but because it was a race car, the ZR denoted that it really wasn't. They weren't to be sold, to be driven on the street. I was a fortunate guy in 1971. I worked for Chevrolet in Portland, Maine. Ford City Chevrolet, we ordered and sold them out of 12, never knowing how rare they were going to be. But they were about a $10,000 car back then, which was a lot of money. And they didn't drive well in traffic. There's no fan shroud. You know, they overheat quickly. It's got a small radiator. It's like BL88s. No comfort options, all of the performance options.
Yeah, so definitely. And what's cool is that a lot of people think that, 1970 was, the peak of the LS6 performance, but Chevrolet carried it into 71 in the Corvette, and it still made tons of power and torque.
You know what, man? This is another interesting story. Sora Duntov was a little displeased in 1970 because his Corvette was the second place car for performance. The LS6 hadn't been federalized on the Corvette. It wasn't the Chevelle, so the Chevelle had a 450 horsepower car. His flagship Corvette only had a 390 horsepower LS5. So he got into the parts bin in 1971 and got after it. And basically, the architecture was about the same as the L88s were, but it was a bigger bore, 454 block. It's not number one, sorry, stroke, largest stroke single. But he had some rest to make an honest 425 horsepower with 9-to-1 compression. So you remember 71 was a really compression ratio. So yeah, it was a cool deal because it put the car back on top of performance in 1970.
Very special engine, and I love that that combination. Something that the lower compression, but still making high power, isn't something we didn't see that again until the 80s and into the 90s. Everybody thought that reduced compression and change in fuel and emissions was the end of performance, but this one really held on. Also, tell me about the rest of the suspension on this car, because typically people think of a big block as nose heavy and not going to be good on a road course, but this is a little different.
Yeah, you couldn't get comfort options, but you got all of the high-performance options. So the F41 suspension was present. The tire technology was what it was. You got the white layer tires, but it got the big brakes. It got the J50, J56 brakes, so these have the 2-pin calipers on the front. And it's a different caliper, even though it's a single pin in the back. The pad material is different. The top part of it is you don't get power steering. These things from the street are a bear. You don't want to park them, but the performance level is there because the mandatory options, transistor ignition, all of those things with the special suspension and the rest, the special braking system to make the car a really good, actually step-off race car. They were meant to be sold for somebody who wanted to race them.
Well, you did an amazing job. It looks phenomenal. The fit is beautiful, and these cars are not easy to fit when you restore one. Fiberglass, we like to say, is alive. And he'll sand something straight tomorrow, and the next day it's all different. So you really did a great job on it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for the unbelievably rare ZR2 LS6 1971 Corvette. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us. We're going to have another feature unveiling in just a few minutes, but you're welcome to grab some photographs and hear a little bit more of awesome Corvette history here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals.
Beautiful cars, absolutely. Wow, only 12 of these, huh?
That's it.
Amazing.
Coming to this event because nowhere else that I'm aware of can you go somewhere and see fresh restoration after fresh restoration. And some of these cars have been to this event in their previous lives. Some of the extreme ones were featured at the hidden gems and the junkyard section that get restored and get unveiled here later. So I always love the excitement of seeing something for the very first time. Right now, we're going to speak with Rick again about this special Corvette. Ladies, let's pull the cover and why don't you tell us what we're looking at, sir?
Well, John Owens owns this car. He's here with us. This car owned for about these 25 years, right, John? You've owned that car for a long time. It was, it's obviously a fuel-injected 290 horse, 59 Corvette, the right color, black. It was a car that I had the pleasure of working on for, I guess, 20 years ago, to help him set the fuel injection up and get it right. And then he drove the car for years, and it was in a parade, I believe, in the strip in Las Vegas. And that 65-year-old woman got in the power wall and got a little bit of a blaze. It's caused a restoration.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for this unbelievable black fuel-injected Corvette and the fresh restoration. So, John, can we ask you a couple questions about the car? So, like Rick said, this is the color, and you're one of the few people that have had a lot of seat time driving a fuel-injected early Corvette around. What is this car like to drive?
It's fun to drive. It's got incredible power. It's just a really, really fun car to drive.
Now that Rochester Ramjet fuel injection is, the stuff of legends, and it's funny how today everything is fuel injected, but it's all electronic, and this is a mechanical system. So what do you have to do to operate this? Is there a special trick you got to know?
No, mine has been pretty much flawless the whole time I owned it.
Well, and that says something, because back then, when they introduced this, the public had no idea what they were looking at. And I believe Chevrolet spent some time to develop something that didn't necessarily require a special checklist or anything. They wanted people to get behind the wheel and drive, and it sounds like that's what you did. How many miles you put on this car?
I put about 25,000 on it.
I love that. I love it.
The only thing on the fuel injection is that cable comes off the cap that runs the fuel injection. You have to make sure you have a spare one.
Well, at least to know that, yeah. So, Rick was telling us the story. So, somewhere on Las Vegas Boulevard, the original wiring decided to let the smoke out. What happened there?
I took off from a red light, a charity thing we were doing for Christmas, and flame boiled out from underneath the car and the hood. I pulled into a 7-Eleven, and I got a lowrider behind me, pulled in, jumped out the fire extinguisher, and saved my car.
Well, that is wonderful. We owe that guy a debt of gratitude for sure. Because fire and cars don't go together, but fire and Corvettes really don't go together. So, take me through this car. How much are we looking at of still the original combination?
All of it.
So, engine, transmission, the whole deal is still original. You're able to save it all.
Yeah, it bubbled the paint, but didn't damage any of the glass. but it melted the wiring all the way back to the taillights. And of course, anything plastic or rubber or anything on the car was all destroyed.
Well, the restoration is beautiful, and it looks, it doesn't look overdone. It still looks like it's surviving and just a happy car. So congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for John and Rick and this beautiful 59 Corvette. I'm going to get a closer look. Please enjoy some photographs. And we do have more feature unveilings coming here today at the Muscle Car Corvette Nationals. Thank you for joining us.
Oh yeah, I always have fun here every year.